Hi, it's Nikki here and welcome to a whole new topic for this month's Curious L&D conversation. This month we are talking about training without a training budget. That's what my fake money is here for, training without a training budget. And more specifically, I'm going to give you 10 very simple tips in order to help you achieve that. Now, it should be said up front that there will never be anything that you do within a business that doesn't cost you money somewhere, regardless of whether it's training or something else. Because as soon as you ask somebody to start planning stuff, you are using their time, which costs money. As soon as you start asking somebody to learn something, you are asking them to come out of their daily routine in order to learn it, which costs money. Hence the fake monopoly money here, because it may not be a tangible line in your actually budget spreadsheet that says that you've got this training budget, but you will be costing the business somewhere. So it better be worthwhile. Now, there is lots of research to say how people learn best. And one of the bits of research that I came across was about informal learning. Now, it said 70% of people who engage in informal learning learn at their best, but it was very vague as to what that looked like. So I'm going to go through my tips. Let's see if those will help you along your way. Some of them you'll be able to implement, won't be any issue at all. Others might not fit your company at all. So just bear that in mind as we go through. So the very first one then, tip number one for training without a training budget is start with where you are. Which sounds ridiculously simple, but actually you need to know where you currently are in terms of your skills and knowledge, behaviours, all those kind of standard things that we talk about within learning and development. But you also we need to know where you want them to be. So if the company is in a state of flux and you're not quite sure, then that's going to be quite tricky to go, well, where do we want our employees to be? Whereas if you start with, well, where are we at? And actually, we just need people to be better at project managing right now. Then that's where you start. So don't overcomplicate things. You can do the where are we now? Where do we want to be? 5 years time. Personally, I would never plan for that long because businesses change way too quickly for that. But actually, where are we now and what it is that we want to concentrate on will get you a good place for starting off. So that will start with where you are. In order to do that, you need to have things like one-to-ones in place and talking to your employees. And that links into tip number two. Tip number two is another really simple one, which is make sure that you have regular meetings. They're often called grassroots meetings or peer meetings or anything where you can get people to engage and discuss, not necessarily led by a manager. That's really important because a meeting that's led by a superior is always going to sound very different to a peer meeting where you may have posed a question for them to come up with. Same as focus groups. Focus groups have a very different outcome to them as well. So the more of this stuff that you're starting to do, the more themes you will start to pick up on about what they see as development. And development is a key word here. Rather than using the word training, use the word development because it has a very different connotation to it. That's where I would suggest that you start. So 3 things really from this session. One is that there's no such thing as no cost development or training. There will always be a hidden cost somewhere, but you can do lots of things that don't have an overt budget line expense to it. And 2 of those things are start with where you are, do a little bit of research and analysis around stuff. And the second one is start to make sure that there are opportunities for people to converse in a less formal environment, i.e. without superiors there, because it will sound very different. Okay, if you want to find out what the other 8 tips are, my suggestion is you subscribe to the channel, you hit the notification button and you will get those. I'm also planning on doing a little handout that goes with this, so in episode 4, I will put a link to that in that one. But for now, I'll see you on the next episode.